And we're good. So,
Seat.
I'm going to have a seat right here.
Okay. Well, sir, good evening. Hope you're enjoying yourself tonight.
I am.
I'm here to tell you a few stories.
Oh,
That's what I do. I tell stories with visual aids.
okay.
Now, we seem to be about the same age or so, and you probably remember something that you used to see all the time that you don't see anymore, because nowadays we have electric dryers. But back when I was a kid, in everybody's backyard you had clothesline.
Oh, yeah.
Remember those? Necessary
Yeah.
back then, and all day, in anyone's backyard, you'd see the line out, and the socks and the underwear were all hanging up, and this stuff had to be strong, right?
True, yeah.
Because otherwise, and then you'd
Yeah.
start at square one
Yeah,
again.
those wash gets heavy.
Exactly. So this stuff needs to be very resilient, and also when you're a magician, you have a few extra tricks to make this stuff a little bit stronger. So I'd like to show you, as you can see. Here are the ends of my clothesline. Here's the middle. And here we go. Now what I'm going to do is show you, I'm going to do something crazy. I just cut my clothesline. And as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 ends. Now, that's no good. We need a full clothesline in order to do our washing. So I am going to restore this clothesline for you. It's going to be the most amazing thing you ever saw in your life. I guarantee it. And presto!
You just tied it.
Well, I mean, it looks pretty good now, right? If you just sort of...
That's an improvement.
If, well, you know what it is? It's a big knot. It's a big, clumsy knot.
Yeah.
I can make this look a little bit... See? A little bit better. See, now, squint.
Yeah, but
It's squint, and it's really impressive.
okay, yeah, I guess you're right.
All right, fine. You don't like the knot. Okay, we'll tell you what. I will get a little magic dust out of my pocket, sprinkle it on the rope, and
How'd you do that?
I forget.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you
Very
very
good.
much. Well, what I'd like to do, my favorite props, I'll take this away. My favorite thing that I like to do is cards. I absolutely love playing with cards, because let's face it, I mean, we've all played with cards. We don't play with rope very often when we're kids. If you did, I'm very sorry you didn't have a very good
Jump
challenge.
rope, jump rope.
Yeah, jump rope. Oh, you were a fighter. Good job.
Yeah.
So, I love my cards. Love them so much I tend to keep the jokers.
You love them all.
Love them all. Just going to give these an initial shuffle.
Yeah.
All right. Now, this trick, basically, I'm going to not touch the cards at all. You're going to touch the cards, but I'm going to direct you. You ever do any acting?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you won't need to here. Because,
Oh, good.
All right.
I didn't say I was
You ever
good
do any
at it.
surgery? I can ask these questions all night. Okay. Now, you see we have a deck. Now,
Yeah.
have you ever cut a deck of cards before? Do you know how to do it?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Would you do me the honor of cutting that deck of cards as close to the middle as you can
Okay.
and placing the top part right next to it?
All right.
Cute. If you don't mind, I'm going to straighten this out a little bit. Sorry,
Okay.
I touched the cards. Okay. But now I'm going to ask you to ask you to take that deck, cut it as close to the middle as you can, and place it on this side, right next to this deck. And stop me if you've heard this before. I'm going to ask you to cut this deck as close to the middle as you can.
I've heard this before.
And now, go for it. Okay, so now
All right.
we have 4 decks. I'm going to need a little more participation from you. This deck right here, if you could pick it up, don't look at any of the cards. Please feel free. Now, could you deal 3 cards into your own hand without looking at them?
Into my own hand.
Yeah.
Like this?
Yep. 3. Put them on the bottom of the deck.
Okay.
And now I'd like you to deal 3 more cards and put each one on top of these in any order you like. You can have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
All right.
Any order you like. Jolly good. Please replace the deck. And please pick up this deck. I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. 3 cards into your hand. Place it at the bottom of the deck. And then 3 cards, in any order you like, on top of these decks.
One here, one here, one here.
All right. Now, again, we're going to ask you to pick up that deck.
Yeah.
You're good at this. All right. And
I'm getting better.
you're getting better. 3 cards into the hand. Place them on the bottom of the deck. And 3 cards either here, 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 in any order you like.
I'm getting a serious case of deja vu.
Well, it's about to get worse. Your final deck, please. If you could, please count 3 cards into your hand. Bottom of the deck, if you don't mind. And
Anywhere I like.
anywhere you like.
All right, let's go here, here, here.
And that's it.
That's it.
All right, I'm going to straighten up the piles a bit so they look all right. Here you go. Now, let's see. Let's find out what it is what you've done. All right, so. Hey, not bad. Okay. So let's see. We've got
Wow.
2.
How did you do that? Is that one of these? You
Remind,
gotta be kidding me.
remind me never to gamble with you, all right? Because you obviously have some sort of a trick.
Wow, that's
You-
amazing. Very
You
good.
tricked me. How did you do that?
How did you do that?
No, how did you
You
do
didn't
that?
even touch the cards.
How did you do that? You never tell me.
Very-
Why should I tell you?
That was very impressive.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm gonna give these another shuffle. Oops, not a very clever shuffle. I'm gonna do one more. There you go. I like that. So, what I'm going to do for you now is I'm going to say to you the 5 words that were first said by the great Egyptian magician Dedi, and they've been said by every magician ever since. Pick a card, any card.
Okay, yeah, way over here.
Okay, now take a look at it, memorize it.
I've got it.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to look in the camera.
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't see that anyway.
No, I didn't see it.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to lose your card in this deck in a series of shuffles. And this one you've never seen before. It's called a Hindu shuffle. It's very, very simple like that. But basically what's going to happen is while I'm doing that, I want you to say stop at one point, and that's where your card will go in the deck.
Stop.
You like it right there?
Yeah.
All right, place it in. Okay. We're going to finish up this shuffle right now. Okay, now we're going to do the type of shuffle that you've seen a million times. It's called a simple riffle shuffle, like that.
Yep.
And then we call this an overhand shuffle. Whoops. The not so clever overhand shuffle. Okay. So, I think we can both agree that the card on the bottom is not your card.
No.
Okay. And let's take a look at the other end of the spectrum. Card on the top is not your card.
No, but they were both 7s. But not my
indeed.
card.
They were indeed.
But not my card.
Okay, so that means your card is somewhere else in this deck. Somewhere. It's been
Yeah.
mixed in.
Right.
All right, so let's tell you what. And you remember what it is, right?
I do.
Okay. Whoops. The riffle.
Okay.
And another over the hand shuffle, as you can see. We're just going to keep mixing this up. Mix, 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 mix. Just like a nice cake batter. And there it is, the 10 of diamonds.
That's not my card.
I never said it was your card. I said there it is, the 10 of diamonds. Bad card. Okay. Okay, excuse me while I'm being a little bit neurotic. Tell you what, you do remember your card, right?
I do.
And
yeah.
it wasn't the 10 of diamonds.
No, but you're close.
The thing is, you weren't thinking hard enough about it. So what I want you to do is please place your hand on the card, and I want you to rub it against it. That's right, and think of your card. Think of it. Do you remember what? Okay. Now please tell me what was your card.
2 of diamonds.
Take a look.
2 of diamonds! Wow, excellent.
There.
That's too much. How could you do that?
Well, you're the one who did it. You rubbed it, remember?
You shuffled it all in there.
Yeah.
Wow. Very good.
Actually, that trick was taught to me by my friend, Little Joe. And you know what? I got a good story about Joe. I think I'd like to show you. Nice little story about my friend, Little Joe. And I'm going to use these cards to illustrate it, if you don't mind. In fact, here is Little Joe. We call him Three Spades because he started as a ditch digger, and he could dig ditches 3 times as fast as everybody else. So we call him Three Spades Joe.
I like it.
But he's Little Joe. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Little Joe, he got a job at a casino in Foxborough. Gentleman, it was just opened and empty. Need people. What do you need? You need people to come into your casino. Otherwise, it doesn't really work.
No.
So he said to Joe, Joe, I need to get some people in here. What I need is some guys with money. Big money. Can you find anyone with big money? Joe said, well, we'll see what happens. So, would you do me the honor of cutting this deck and completing the cut by putting that on top of that? Joe went out. And first he started looking in Foxborough. And then he went to Mansfield. And then he went to Plainsfield. And then he went... Where did he go? Did he come back yet? No. Then he went to... he went to East Bridgewater. But finally, Joe came back.
Wow.
And he said to Joe, Joe, did you find me the players I'm looking for? He says, I found you 1, 2, 3, 4 holy rollers. These guys are the big bucks. They're going to love being in your casino. And his boss was so happy, he tipped him $2. He said, Joe, thank you for bringing these guys. But, there's other things that are going to want to make them stay. They can only just play so long. They're going to want to have some dates. You think you could find some women for these guys? Joe said, well, we'll see what happens. Please do me the honor of cutting the deck. And completing the cut, please. And Joe went out looking. He went out to East Bridgewater and to Bridgewater and to Canton and West Bridgewater. Hit all the Bridgewaters. And finally, Joe came back.
Wow.
And he says, Joe, did you find the girls? Did I find the girls? I found 1, 2, 3, 4 of the prettiest honeys you ever did see. They're going to make these guys I brought over here really happy. I said, he's so happy. Tipped him another $2.
All right.
And his boss said to him, Joe, thank you for bringing all these people, but the thing is, I want sort of a hipper place. Something, that the young people can enjoy, It's, not too young, obviously, but, I want to get some young people in here who like to drink and party and have a lot of fun. He says, you think we can find me some guys like that? Joe said he'd try. Please do me the honor of cutting the deck.
Great.
So Joe went out looking. And he's looking and looking. He went to Brockton. He went to Stoughton. He went to, I think Canton, but, he went there again because you never know, you might have missed somebody. But finally, he came back. So he says, did you find anybody? He says, did I find anybody? I found 1, 2, 3, 4 young studs with money, and they like to party. And they are going to be very happy here. His boss was so happy, he tipped him $2. So he says, Joe, you found a lot of people. I appreciate you doing that. He says, I got to work in the office for a little while. Would you mind watching the floor for a bit? If any of these people need, anything at all, can you take care of it? Joe says, yeah, I think I can. So, anyway, first thing that happens is one of the guys says, hey, there's a poker game over there, and I want to get involved in it, but I got 2 20s. You think you can break them for me? So Joe said, yeah. He gave him 4 10s for his 2 20s. Guy was so happy, he tipped him $2. And the guy said, you know what? I see you got a bar over there. I like to drink. Could you get me something? He says, well, what do you like to drink? I says, Seagram 7. I'm a whiskey guy. He says, sure, you want me to get you a bottle? He says, actually, if you don't mind, I'd like to get 2 bottles of 7, if, save you running back and forth between the bar all
Wow,
night
that's
long.
some heavy drinking.
He is indeed. He says, sir, those bottles are $9 each. So he gave him the money,
That's
came
cheap.
back with the bottles, and guy was so happy, tipped him $5.
Wow.
Now the evening's wearing on. Guy's getting a bit drunk. He's not playing so well now. Starting to sway. starting to laugh a little too loud. Anyway, Joe's boss goes up to him and says, you know what? That guy over there, I like him. He's been here for a while. I don't want to take his last dime. I want him to feel like, we're taking care of him. I want him to come back. So could you do me a favor? Could you go over there and nudge him? Tell him you think maybe he's had enough for tonight because, he's starting to lose. He says, yeah, I'll see what I can do. So Joe goes over there, explains the situation. And the guy, thankfully, is not a belligerent drunk. He's actually a nice guy. He says, yeah, you're absolutely right. I have had a lot to drink. Would you mind helping me get back to my hotel, my room? He says, sure. So he helps him through the lobby. They get to the elevator. He says, what room you in? He says, I'm in room 44. So, get in the elevator. They're going up to the 4th floor. Joe says, you're a well-built man, for a guy who's, you're an older gentleman, not too old. How old are you? The guy says, I'm 53. He says, really? You don't look a day over 35. He says, you married? He says, I've been married 8 years. Got 7 kids, 4 boys and 3 girls. Wow, that's a hell of a family. You must make some pretty good cash in order to support a family that big. He says, yeah, I own a Hotel 66, a Club 66. He says, on an average month, I can bring in $9,988. On average. That's how I'm able to afford to come to places like this and, and drink and start to lose my money. He says, well, that's great. He says, if you don't mind me asking, he says, what was your best hand tonight? He says, my best hand? Would you believe it? 4 aces and a 6. But 4 aces. He says, now that's a good hand.
Yeah, I'll say.
He says, so how much did you win on that? He says, nothing. Nothing? He says, yeah, I lost. How could you lose with 4 aces? He says, guy had a straight flush.
Wow, you used every card too.
I did indeed.
Very good.
And Joe went home.
Outstanding.
Joe's a really nice guy. He can, as that story told you, he can do basically anything. Well, almost anything.
Really?
He came up to me one time. It was about 2 hours before his shift began. And he says, Craig, I'm in big trouble. He says, what's the problem? He says, I've torn my pants. These are the only pants I got. I got to go work out the casino. I said, well, you're telling me you can't sew? You can sew. He says, yeah, I can sew. Can't thread the needle. His eyes are no good.
Oh.
He says, well,
I got the same problem.
Admittedly, that is a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
So he says, can you thread it for me? He says, well, I have to do things in my own way. So let's say this is the thread that Joe gave me. He says, I'm going to show you how we thread needles in my family. So this is the thread, and this would be the spool. Right? And there's our needle eye. Now, actually a blind man could thread that. We might as well make it a little bit more challenging than that.
Okay, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. See, it's a little bit more.
Wish it was that big.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Maybe one more. They might as well. How's that? So.
Wow.
And the needle has been threaded.
I didn't even see you do that.
Thank you very much.
Wow. Fantastic.
Hey. And that's it.
Congratulations.
My 5.
That was wonderful.
Thank you. I know there's a couple of things that need work, but besides that.
Well, think about this.